back again. And it comes in, it's going to fall perfectly at the feet of Gail Figueroa. Real showpiece occasion. Coventry are looking to add a second goal. It's a fine pass and a fine goal as well.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Sky Blue Fans TV, playoff final edition. I don't think many of us would have been saying that at the start of the season, but we are where we are, and it's great to see. So we're talking about tonight, Saturday's game against Luton Town. So we're talking the first 30 minutes of the show. We're talking about the game from the Coventry City point of view. Then we'll be joined by Ollie Kay from the Oak Hatter podcast, Luton Town fan, who'll be giving us the lowdown on Luton Town after 8 o'clock. So we'll take a break, and then after 8 o'clock, Ollie will come on and talk about Luton. So tonight's guests, we've got 3 commentary guests. I'm hoping to get one more. So I'm going to start off with Ian Small. Ian, good evening. How are you doing, sir?
Hi, Mark.
Good
Thanks
stuff.
for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good. Next guest, I've got Claudio from the Coventry City and Leamington and Warwick Coventry City Sport Club.
That's it. It's a mouthful.
He's looking dashing with his bucket hat, which I'm very jealous about because I want a bucket hat. So evening, Claudio. How are we doing?
Evening. I'm good, thanks. I look like Groucho Marx with this my glasses and my big nose.
Yeah, but you know what? It's a fashion, so you can wear whatever you want. It's a free world. And we've also got Mr. Myles Cadden. Milesy, how are we doing?
Good evening, all. I'm all
Good
good.
evening.
How are you? You all good?
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't know about everyone else. I've been feeling blooming nervous, and I'm still feeling nervous. It's just that pain. It's just that nerve in my stomach. Just the anticipation of what's about to unfold at 4:45 onwards, and hopefully it will be a joyous occasion. Let's just go around the before we go to the game. Let's go around the audience. So, Claudia, how are you feeling ahead of this game? Are you feeling excited, nervous, both? What's the emotions?
I've been fairly calm this week, but I think that's going to change around about 9 o'clock Saturday morning. It's my birthday tomorrow as well, so I'm out in Warwick, so I've got to be careful.
Oh,
so, cheers. I mean, the anticipation is great, isn't it? I mean, I can't believe. Even now, I keep saying to my wife, we're in the playoff final. We're in the playoff final. I mean, she's telling me to shut up now and stop going on about it. But it's just a great feeling, and it's not where I thought we'd be. Apart from Myles, I think there's probably 95% of the fan base thought we weren't going to be here. It's just great, isn't it? It's a great feeling, and come Saturday morning, I'll be buzzing. You know, it's worrying because everyone who speaks to me about it, who aren't Cov fans, keeps saying, you're going up. And I'm thinking, oh, don't say that. Don't say that. But everyone's convinced that we're going up. So, I'm just really looking forward to it.
Yeah, let's hope that's the case. Ian, what's your overall emotions at the moment? Are you excited, nervous, or?
Been a bit of a roller coaster. As you know, my dad passed away recently, so we had his funeral last week, but that was the day after the Middlesbrough game, so we had a huge lift, and a lot of the old football lads from Coventry who we grew up with came on Thursday, and it really took the edge off. It really gave everybody a lift, having got to Wembley. So on a personal note, it's turned a really, really difficult situation into what I hope is going to be a great day. Then there was the getting the tickets, because obviously I live in France, so I'm not a season ticket holder just since Birmingham, really, the last few years. So I've had to buy Premier tickets for next year to get my tickets, which, you know, it is what it is. You have to do what you do, don't you? And Reece, I've seen a lot of Reece and the kids this week. So that's been nice. The game itself, like you, Mark, I'm really nervous. I think there's a lot of hype around, as Claudio said. There's you're going to win, you're going to get through, you've got the momentum. But Luton are a tough outfit. They're big, they're strong. I think a lot of people have made comments about the size of the pitch, and it could help us. I think that's true. But my heart tells me that the back three, as they did against Middlesbrough, are rock solid. And I don't think we'll be outmuscled by Luton. I think we've got enough solidity in the back to cope with the balls in and the high balls and the hustle and the bustle. I just hope that Vic or Gus or somebody, even a Jamie Allen, just picks a moment of magic, just one chance, and puts it away. Because I think we could do what we did at Middlesbrough. I think we could win 1-0, but we've got to take those chances. The longer it goes and we fluff them, we miss them, it hits a leg, it hits a keeper, that's when I think that the lump in my chest will start rising. I think we can do it. I think we can do it, but it's going to be really, really tight.
Yeah. Myles, how are you feeling, and can we do it?
Of course we can do it. It's
Question,
That's the end of the podcast.
Listen, I'm savouring the moment of Shercut today to come on here tonight and to go to Wembley. Ken's got a bucket hat, so just want to give a shout out to Ken. He's not on tonight, unfortunately. Before I go on and just mention, Ken's brother passed away today, so all our best go to Ken. Hope you're all right tonight, mate. I'm on the phone if you need me, mate. But it's we're going to. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tight. I know it's going to be tight. Agree everything what Ian said. Agree what Claudio says. I agree what you say, Mark, as well. Over the last couple of weeks, it's going to be a real tight game. But I just think we have got the edge. We've got experience. We know what we're doing in this situation. Mark Robbins knows what he's doing in this situation. The game plan worked perfectly in Middlesbrough. We love playing one up front. It's the way we play. And with the pitch being longer, it's no wider, it's only longer. It gives us that opportunity to feed Vic his ball down either side of the pitch, and he loves to cut inside. You know what he's like. He'll get the ball down the side, cut inside, and it gives us a chance to get the ball over the top to him, and he can latch onto it. And I said last night on the special we did with Louty on there and Ashley that for us the key for me for this game is VAR, because I don't think Luton are going to cope with VAR. I think they're going to struggle because of their tactics. They're dirty, they're hard, they're rough, they're ready. They like to dive all over the pitch when they get a challenge. And, Vic's been pulled apart this season. And let's hope VAR plays a part on Saturday. And, we've got a real good ref. We've got the best ref in the world, I think, ref in the game. He's absolutely superb. And I think he'll pick up on a lot of the things that a lot of refs have let go this season with it. Loads of push shirt pulling and, pulling him back when he's pulling him down when he knows he's latching onto the ball. It's going to be tight. It's going to be real tight, but we're going to do it. I know we're going to do it. This team, there's something about this team. And when you're interviewing them and when you're seeing them and you're seeing them out and about, the way they come and talk to you, they're doing it. I know they're doing it.
Fabulous. Well, I do love that. It really makes me feel more confident listening to you speak. And also, echo your thoughts about Ken. Condolences from myself and
all of us.
It's very sad. So hope you're all right, mate. And we're all here for you if you want to chat. Okay, let's move. I've got another guest to bring onto the show. None other than all the way from Uganda. I've got Ronald from the charity CEFCFansstore. I can't really pronounce it, so I do apologise, but I'll bring him on now. Ronald, can you hear us? How are you doing? Hi, Ronald.
I think he's on mute.
Hi, Ronald. You might be on mute.
I think he's gone off. I think he'll be back in a minute, won't he?
Yeah.
So,
We'll bring
carry
it back on. I mean, my thoughts personally, I think this is going to be a very tough game. I agree with Ian. I just think it's like a flick of a coin type of game. I think it can go either way. The only thing I will say in our favour is there's two things. I think the pitch you mentioned, I agree with that. But also the fact that they have lost. They lost to Sunderland, despite the fact that they are in the final. They did lose to Sunderland, if you remember, in the semi-final, 2-1. And I thought, when I watched that game at Sunderland, I thought although Luton did score first, I thought after that Sunderland were a better side and they played really well. They did score a very good free kick.
Hello?
Ronald, can you hear me? Can you hear us?
Hello?
Hello, you're okay?
That signal's not
You hear
good.
me?
Yes, I can hear you fine, yes. How are you doing?
Yeah, it seems my reception is not so well. Good evening, everyone. Happy to be here and to see you.
Yeah. Just tell us, Ronald, how do you think the game's going to go on Saturday? Do you think we can win?
I can't hear you well.
No problem. We'll get you back on.
I'm not sure if you get.
Yeah, we'll get you back on. Just give me 1 sec. Get you back on. If you come off and come on, we'll get you back on. All right, I will carry on the chat. Apologies for that. I just think it's good. I'm a bit nervous about the game. I think, as I say, the only thing that encourages me about this one is the fact that they did lose to Sunderland, and I thought Sunderland were a better side.
Mm-hmm.
I know they did win the game at Kenilworth Road, but to be fair, Kenilworth Road is a much tighter ground, and I think, having said that, we did actually get a point in both games against Luton. So it's not, for me. I think we can compete them physically. It's just about concentration, really. And also how we handle the occasion. It's a big final. It's a lot of hype and all that. Obviously, we're talking about it. The media, other parts of the media, are talking about it. The players have got to. It's who can settle down, who can play their football, and can cope with it. In terms of personnel, I mean, Claudio, would you keep it an unchanged side from Middlesbrough for this one, or would you maybe bring Matty Godden back into the fold?
No, I'd leave it as it is. I think we need to keep the ball, because we can't really do what we did to Middlesbrough to Luton, because basically they'll bypass the midfield if they can. They'll try and get it forward to as quickly as possible to their forwards, which means that's going to take our midfield out. So that means if we've got the box midfield again, they've got to keep possession. We've got to try and keep hold of the ball and work them, basically, wear them out if need be. And it's a bit like, I said for the Middlesbrough game, we don't have to win this in the first 10 minutes, do we? Just be patient. Just be patient. And Ian said it. 1-0's enough. It's and we are hard to break down as well. What's encouraging is that I think we're the best team or second best team at set pieces defensively, and which is encouraging when they've got such a big, bulky team like they have. So we've got lads there who aren't afraid to get their head on the ball. That's what you need, and get a footing where it hurts. Just get stuck in, basically. So I think keep it as it is, and the likes of Jamie Allen, Sheaf, and Gus as well. They're getting in the box now. Last season, that's the one thing that was missing, was goals from midfield, and it's the goals from. Gus has scored a hatful of goals, but it's the goals from midfield that have got us into the playoffs, really, because. What's Gus got? Is he double figures now? I think Jamie's on 8. They scored 4 between them, I think, last season, or something ridiculous. It was rubbish. This is brilliant what they're doing now, and that's what they need to do. When we break, I saw some stat where we're the fastest breaking team by about 40 points, whatever that means. We're way ahead of any team in the division in terms of getting from defence to attack, on the counter attack. So I'll keep it as it is, definitely.
Yeah.
And then do what he did, if need be, bring them on towards the end, as a different option to keep. Because what will happen is, if you do take the lead, they will then want to press, and towards the end of the game, they'll chuck more bodies forward. But if you stick another attacker on, that's going to give them something else to worry about. So I'd keep it as it is, definitely.
Yeah, Ian, do you agree with those thoughts?
Completely. I think it's a no-brainer. I think the two holding midfielders are key in front of the back, 3 or 5, whichever, whether you're in possession or out. And I think having Kelly back, the old head, playing the simple 10-yard pass when I hate the word transition, it's a new vogue thing, but when they lose possession and we pick it up, I think Kelly will find the passes, so will Eccles and Sheaf. I just think it gives Gus and Jamie freedom and confidence to push forward. And you show me a midfielder in the whole division that's more dangerous in the last third than Gus Hamer. So you've got to stick with it, because Vic can hold the ball up, Vic can make the runs, but how often have we looked across and Godden's been isolated? I think when you've got 2 or 3 runners from midfield late, as he did for the goal against Middlesbrough, actually. And I also noticed Bidwell was in the 6-yard box when Gus scored. So we've got lots of options when we break. And that's interesting from Claudio about the pace at which we break. I don't think we're quite as ineffective with Matty. And I like Matty Godden a lot, but he's a different sort of option. So I'd stick with it as it is.
Milesy, same for you?
100%. It's like we haven't. Robbins hasn't had the option all season to play one up front. Whenever we've gone to play one up front, midfielders have got injured, or a defender's got injured, or a striker's got injured, so he's not able. It's just been so much bad luck this season about injuries that we haven't had that option. So the last few months we've had to cope with 2 up front, and for me, it doesn't work. I love Godden to bits. He's a finisher. He knows where the goal is. You've only got to see. He only needs one chance, and he can put it away. And he is absolutely class. But I just think him and Vic are just completely the opposite. I think that they drift too far apart from each other. And when you're playing 2 up front, you've got to have one real close. So if you've got Big Vic who's flicking it on, or Matty Godden flicking it on, they're always a little bit too far from each other, or they're not in the position that they think they've got to be in. So for me, on Saturday, it's got to be one up front all day long. I just think that it's the way we play. If we've got the option in midfield, which we did against Middlesbrough, we've just got to stick with that box midfield. And if you speak to anyone, all the press, or anyone that Winchy and Oggy, you listen to Oggy and everything, they all agree that the box midfield is the way that we play. And I believe that, going forward, when we win on Saturday, I am still saying it, that this formation will do us well in the Premier League as well. It will really work for us, because there's a lot of teams that play that way, and we have learned to play this way, and we've been learning this way since League Two, if you think about it. We've been learning to play with one striker. We've been learning to play with the ball coming out from the back. And that's in League Two on pitches with bobbly like anything. So you imagine it on Saturday on this beautiful Wembley pitch. It's just going to be fantastic. And I'm happy that it's a later kickoff, because I think the temperature is going to be really hot this weekend. So that's going to bring the temperature down in the evening on the pitch, which is absolutely spot on for the players. The sun will be dropping behind the ground, and happy days, and they'll be a little bit cooler. But you can't change it. You can't change it. Like Ian said, but the back three have just been absolutely fantastic. McNally, Fads, and young Callum Doyle. I mean, Callum Doyle's meant to be playing for the under-20s and Norton Cuffy, and they're in a playoff final, and they could be, getting us promoted to the Premier League on Saturday. So it's massive. and they've got to stick with it. Got to stick with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Luton will probably match us pretty much. They tend to play 3-5-2 as well. I'm a bit worried about their two strikers. I have to admit, if I was to say pick two players, I'm a bit worried about. I think it's Carlton Morris and Adebayo. I think they are good strikers for me. They work well as a tandem. I think they're two players for me who could cause us problems. But look, we've got players who can cause some problems as well. So I'm not overly worried, but it's just about how we handle the occasion of the day for me is the most important thing, and how we deal with, and also us as fans of the crowd, we play our part as well. We can make Wembley Stadium like the CBS Arena, because we've got the support that we bring week in, week out is absolutely superb. So I've got no doubt. I was going to bring in some comments.
Just want to say,
go on, mate.
Two sets you said about Adebayo there. If I'd love to see him at Cov, because he's absolutely rapid, and the way we play, like Claudio said, we're one of the quickest teams at breaking. He would fit straight into our team. I think he'd be absolutely superb, and that's the sort of player. If you go into the Premier League, they're the sort of players you want to get. You want to get quick, fast players that can cause trouble, and powerful players like Vic. He's strong, and he can cause some headaches in the Premier League. But I think if you're going to, even if we don't go up and we get money for Vic, I think you probably go and chase Luton for Adebayo or someone like that, because I think that's the sort of player that we need at our club because of the pace. You've only got to look at the way Norton Cuffy pushes forward. It's lovely to see. He's quite nimble and quick. So. Yeah, I mean, he's a good player. He is a good player.
Yeah. So bring some comments to the crowd. Glenn Watkin, even Glenn, nerves are kicking in. Yeah, I think we're all feeling that. Covandy, looking forward to the game, but gutted. Well, the first comment of Wembley I've missed, couldn't get a ticket. Oh, that's a shame. That's really, really annoying. So commiserations here. That's really bad. Adam Shaw, I think he's probably saying what a lot of us are thinking. It feels like we've been waiting a year since beating Middlesbrough. I think it's probably been the longest week. It feels like the slowest week ever. It always happens when you want to play the game. I don't know about you guys. I'm almost thinking about the game in my head. I don't know. Every night I'm just sort of visualising, being at Wembley, seeing the game, and just visualising us getting the winner. Do you think? I mean, I think it could happen, but there's also another way I'm visualising Luton winning as well. I just don't know. I literally just don't know where this game's going to go. I really do think it's going either way. That's just my gut feeling. But I'm going to be positive and say we're going to do it. So I'm going to be optimistic. Got some more comments. Well, I'm hoping this is not going to happen, but. Skyblue Sam asks, what happens if we lose on Saturday? Will we be in promotion picture next season, or will we have a massive rebuilding job and struggle? I mean, we don't want to think of that way, but I mean, if the worst happened and we didn't win, obviously there's going to be questions open about the futures of various players. Obviously, one being Gyökeres and even Hamer, but I think that's going to be a case regardless of the result, isn't it, guys? I mean, if we go up to the Premier League, we're going to need to strengthen and. Obviously we'll keep our best players, but whatever happens, it's a big job, isn't it, for Mark Robins after this game, isn't there? Really, there's no doubt about it. In terms of
we just got to avoid what happened to Huddersfield and Wigan and Reading and Barnsley, and clubs where they got to the playoff and then the following season had a massive drop off. But I think that was to do with the fact that they had to get rid of players because they spent so much money. We don't have to do that. We're in a weird position where. We've got to where we are by not buying a single player. We've hardly spent any money whatsoever. So we're in actually a good position if we don't go up, because we probably can spend some money. I mean, Doug's been waving his magic wand at the minute. I don't know. He's coming like a breath of fresh air. Hopefully, in the summer, either way, if we go up or don't go up, he's going to, let the club spend some money to get a couple of players in, 2 or 3 players. Because if we do go up, I reckon there's probably only 4 of that team who'll probably start the first match. They're going to have to do some, well, I wouldn't say as bad as Forest, but we're going to have to make some changes because the squad's not. We need probably another 6 or 7 players to be added to the squad, regardless of losing anybody. So if we lose anyone, that 6 or 7 is going to be 13, isn't it? But we've done that in the past, haven't we? We've swapped 11 players either way in League One, and I think in League Two as well. League Two, we had no players. You had to get loads of players in.
Yeah.
So,
I think to pick up on the point, I think just being pessimistic for a moment, if Luton were to turn us over, Claudio's spot on that we are not paying a 6 million debt off, or CISO aren't telling us that we've got to tighten our straps. I think Doug is a breath of fresh air. I think everybody knows that Vic would go, assuming we get 20-25 for him minus the add-on from Brighton. In the Championship, that's enough to get 3 or 4 or even 5 good players and put a couple of million a season onto Hamer's salary to keep him. That's the key for me. We assume Vic's going. If we can keep Gus next year, if we don't go up, I think we'd have enough money from Vic's pot to get some players in on good wages. 15, 18 grand a week rather than the 9, 10, 11 they're on at the minute. And I don't think we'd do a Huddersfield because of the reasons Claudio outlined. So it's not all doom and gloom. This is not, one-off chance or else we're staring disaster in the face because we haven't got CISO anymore.
I think to add to that, the fact that Mark Robins has signed a contract as well until 27 gives you that solidity as well. The most important person in the club, I'd say, I think we'd all agree on, is Mark Robins, and the fact that he signed that contract shows the commitment that he's put into he's shown to the club. So I really, really want us to win. But if the worst happens and we don't, I think we can rebuild. And I think we can go again next season, and hopefully we can push on. But let's not think of that. Let's think of us as winning the game. And
you'll probably see 3 hours before kickoff, everyone in the fan zone, beer flying everywhere because they've announced Victor's signed a 3-year deal.
It wouldn't surprise me if they announced something tomorrow, because they've been doing it every game the last month. They announce something, don't they? Whether it's season tickets or Robin signing or the playing at the CBS, they seem to be announcing something to get everybody's spirit up before the big game.
Yeah.
But Ian's right. I mean, we signed Hamer for $1 million, Vic $1 million, Callum nothing, and they're 3 great players who, all of them now.
Chief 750.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at, close to, some people may laugh, but I reckon close to over 40 million if you sold all 4 of them. Easy. Easy now. And that's from nothing. So you don't have to spend a lot to get decent players at this level. It's, just because Chelsea spends 70 million on Fofana, for whatever reason, I don't know, doesn't mean you can't, and he's, it's next to useless, I reckon. But it doesn't mean you have to spend that kind of money at all.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Look at what Chelsea are doing, not very well this season. They're not even in the top half of the table, so that just goes to show. But I think they've said about 600, 700 million, I think.
Yeah, try coaching players for a change. That's the thing, isn't it? And that's what we do at our club, I think. Yeah. I mean, when we had that forum, the supporters forum, I think it's quite funny now, and Doug King was there, and I said to him, I said, you need to keep him. And I think he thought I was on about Vic. I says Mark Robins, we can't lose Mark Robins. And he went, we have a good working relationship. And I thought, fantastic. And he signed for another 4 years.
Yeah.
But that's the man. We've got to keep him. It's almost like we've got they call it a project now, don't they? And that's what it looks like. And it's taken shape. And I think when we were in League One, it happened a bit quicker than we thought. And obviously COVID helped. We got promoted a lot quicker than CISO expected. And even now it's happened again, hasn't it? So it's great progress.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that will continue. Got some more comments from our audience. Skyblue Sam, evening Skyblue Sam. I think we have the X factor in Vic, Hamer, Sheaf, Godden, and Palmer, maybe on the bench, obviously, who can do a moment of quality to win us the game. What else we got? We'll live and die in these towns. We need to keep Luton corner count as little as possible. They're one of the best teams outside the top two at counter-attacking football, and I think we'll catch them out once or twice. Steve Price, Evening Steve, good to hear you again. Enjoying the show from sunny South Wales. Cannot wait until Saturday. Going to be a great day out. Travelling will be a lot easier coming from our direction. I think the trains from the Midlands into Euston's not particularly great from what I've been reading on social media. So
one on the way back, yeah, the last one on the way back's 9 o'clock or something. So, but if you're going from Marylebone to Leamington, the last one's back's about I think it's 20 to 11. I think the last one, but you're going to be out of there anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it.
A couple more comments and we'll go to an ad break. Don't know, someone you might know, Ian, someone called Reece Small. He said 2-1 on Saturday. I think we'll go behind as well, but keep the faith. So he's going 2-1. What else we got? Glenn saying we've got to win the midfield battle, stop Luton playing through us, and all that, and also free Hamer up. That's good comments there. Right, what else we got? Your average Cov fan, Gons missed large chunks of the season and scored 8 goals. Adebayo 7 goals from more games. But Adebayo is a good player in his day. He's a danger man. Okay, so we'll go to a break. We're going to bring Ollie on from the Oak Road Hatter. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Actually, 1 minute, so you can count me. Welcome back, everyone. So I'm going to bring on Ollie Kay from Oak Road Hatter podcast. Ollie, good to have you on again. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, doing well, thanks. Thank you very much for having me on.
Yeah. I enjoyed speaking to you and your esteemed colleagues at the on your podcast. How are you feeling? I had the game from a Luton perspective. I think we've been chatting off there, obviously, but we're pretty nervous. I'm pretty nervous. How are you feeling? You feeling the same?
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty nervous, especially after hearing what you guys pay your players allegedly. I'm terrified. I thought we were coming up against the team with the one team in the league that in the playoffs that had a lower wage budget than us. But Ian said you're paying people, 10K, 12K a week, and he's talking about offering people 18K salaries. Jeez, I'm quaking. I'm quaking right now. And here's Luton Town with a hard wage cap of no one earning more than 6K a week, and Big Bad Cov, paying people 10 G's a week. Whoa, I'm terrified now.
Well, I think this season, at the start of the season, I think we were second bottom of the league for wages. I think we were. I'm just quoting these figures. I think we spent something like £120,000 a week for a total squad.
So that was from last season, wasn't it? The figures, all the figures that we're seeing are from the 21-22 season, because football accounts are they're in arrears. But are you genuinely spending like that much on wages now? Are your players on 12K?
No idea, really. I would love to know it myself, but I know it's fairly low. We're not one of the biggest spender. Well, it may change obviously now. Doug King on board, but we'll see what happens there. But let's talk about the game itself on Saturday. Luton. You look at their league season. They've only lost, obviously, before the Sunderland game. They only lost 8 games all season in the league. Obviously 9 now. Obviously, technically, if you count the playoff game against Sunderland. What's been why Luton just so consistent? What makes Luton such a good side? What makes them tick? I guess what's Rob Edwards done that makes them so hard to beat?
Well, part of our solidity comes from last season under Nathan Jones. He gave us a way of playing, an identity which isn't pretty football, but it was direct. I think we discussed it on the Oak Road Hatter pod, like the difference between Rob Edwards and Nathan Jones. But with Nathan Jones, it was very much big channel balls, and it was essentially 3 at the back, very solid. And we carried that through into this season. However, when Nathan Jones left us, we were 10th in the league. We weren't winning as many as we wanted. It was mostly draws. We couldn't hold on to a lead to save our lives. But then Rob Edwards came in, and we started being able to hold on to more leads. I feel as Rob Edwards was a centre-back, like Nathan Jones was also a defender, but he was a left-back. As a centre-back, I feel Rob Edwards is getting a lot more out of our centre-backs in terms of coaching, performance. Like, for instance, Gabe Osho, who first half of the season, he was in the Who Scored Worst 11 of the season. Second half of the season, he's one of the best players in the champion. He's one of the best defenders in the championship now, Gabe Osho. It's like Rob Edwards has, put his arm around him, just said to him, giving him the Ted Lasso treatment, being like, I believe in you, Gabe. You can do this. But he's done that across the board. But I feel one of the biggest reasons, other than our full pitch press that involves our whole team, one of the biggest reasons was the January signing of Marvellous Nakamba.
Yeah.
Now, he has been a remarkable bit of business. And it shows great belief in Rob Edwards that Gary Sweet authorised that deal, because it's reported that Marvellous Nakamba is on a 30k salary. Now, we certainly are not paying for that salary. We're probably not even paying for half, but I reckon we're probably laying out 10k a week to get him there. We probably had to contribute 1/3 of the salary to get him to Luton Town. And it looks like it could pay off, because I said when he signed, I said, Marvellous Nakamba is going to be the difference between getting the playoffs and not getting in the playoffs. But fast forward from January to May, and it looks like Marvellous Nakamba could be the difference between promotion and not getting promotion. It just shows how crucial he's been.
What does he give you to the team that other players maybe don't give you as much? Is it just the quality? Is it the fact that he's just got all the attributes of a Premier League player, or what is it that what he can do to hurt opposition teams?
So he's certainly got the attributes of a Premier League player. I don't know how he hasn't gone into the Aston Villa team or been around the Aston Villa team. It's probably because they've changed managers so frequently that he's just sort of got lost in transition. So what he does is, the technical term is ratting around, whereby if there is a player that has the ball, he's in their face, he's on their shoulder, he's like nipping away at their heels. He doesn't give them a minute to or a second even to pick their head up, look for a pass. And in this upcoming game, he will be sort of sitting between our defense and our midfield and watching for any penetration from your midfield in behind your back, in between your midfield and your front line. So he will be looking to cut out any passes that come there. And he just gives us that discipline. Before he came in, we were playing a midfield 3 of Alan Campbell, Pelly Ruddock, and Jordan Clark, with one of Jordan Clark or Pelly playing the holding role. And I'm not saying they weren't bad at it, but we certainly looked a lot more leaky. And then Marvellous Nakamba came in, and he's a specialist defensive midfielder. So he's just given us that X factor in the middle of the park. he's so disciplined. He allows Pelly, Alan Campbell, or Jordan Clark, whichever of those two play, to just go ahead, press like madmen, and he will always be there. And most importantly as well, which is a big factor for how we play, is he allows our left centre-back, Amari Bell, and the right centre-back, Gabe Osho, to penetrate from deep with the ball, which is big, because that means we can cause overloads out wide or in the middle of the park. And he's been very important to how we played the second half of the season.
Yeah. Now, one player I thought, who I'm particularly worried about as a Coventry fan, Carlton Morris. I think he's quality. I think him and Adebayo are a really good duo. What's your assessment of those two guys? And do you think alongside Nakamba, do you think they're the main two dangers, or are they the players that we should be worrying about for this game?
Yeah, well, Morris is a danger. He hasn't scored yet in the playoffs, although he did finish with 20 goals this season in the league. He is obviously a threat, but you'll notice the way they play as a duo up top is they tend to split. They will run the channels. They will drop deep to get the ball. They'll hold up the ball, bring others into play. So you'll notice as soon as the ball comes into the box, only one of them will be in the box.
Yeah,
which is a bit of a frustration when you have two absolutely massive centre forwards. You want them both in the box. You want one like sort of standing on the penalty spot, one back stick, but more often than not, one is back stick and the other one's like, absolutely busting a gut to get into the box for the second ball. I would actually throw you a curveball though and say the danger for Coventry will come from our left and right wing backs, which they are Alfie Doughty and Cody Drammer. Yeah, because they are very important to how we play. If we were all watching it on Sky, you'll see when they bring up how many touches a player has had in the game, they are most likely to be top of the list because they are our outball. Whereas you play through the center, we like to play out wide. They will look to stretch the play. They will look to penetrate. They will look to pin your left and right wing backs as far back as possible. And that's what we did to Sunderland in the second half in the second leg. It was just Cody and Alfie was pretty much spending most of the time in the Sunderland half, pinning. I think it was Jack Clark was one of the wing backs. I can't remember the other fella. But we just pinned them back, and it was just aerial bombardment. It was balls into the box. And in that game, we had 3 shots cleared off the line. It was pretty. It could have been 5 or 6 against Sunderland.
Yeah, I thought he was different class against Sunderland at Kenilworth Road. Although he did lose, of course, at Sunderland. I mean, obviously, the only thing that's different in this game is obviously Wembley is a bigger pitch in terms of length, not so much width. Is that something you're concerned about, or you're not really bothered about that from a Luton angle? Because obviously Kenilworth Road is a different type of ground, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. We touched upon this in the Oak Road Hatter podcast when you asked me about that, and I said it's a big myth. It's a big myth because if you look at the away form, the away table, you'll see behind Burnley in first place, 1 point behind Burnley is Luton Town. And of course, that means we're playing on bigger pitches. We're playing on everyone else's fancy pitches that are nice and wide and long. But we do a job there on all those other pitches. The one thing that a big pitch does neutralize is our press. So one thing that Rob Edwards said after our first leg against Sunderland, although there were many factors at play in that game against Sunderland, most importantly, a wonder goal from Amad Diallo that you can't account for, which
it was a great goal.
It was fantastic. That's what 40 million gets you. When you sign a teenager for 40 mil, they will be able to do that. before that, because we scored in the 7th minute and we shut the stadium light up. It was quiet until Amad Diallo scored that goal. And then they got everyone out of their seats. And it was like, wow, that atmosphere, it carried the Sunderland team. It gave them the belief that they could do anything. And then they were running at us. And it didn't help that the ref was very card happy. So Nakamba, Pelly, and Clark, our midfield three, who are crucial to our press, were all on yellow cards in the first half, which just meant in the second half we were toothless. But what Rob Edwards said about the big pitch was, because it's a big pitch, we wanted to go direct to our forwards. But if we went direct to our forwards, it would have left a huge space in behind the forwards as they went, as they tried to stretch play, and it would have let Pritchard, Ekwa, Diallo dropping in. It would have given Sunderland too much space to play, and they have those technicians that can hurt you. They can pick a pass, especially Pritchard. Like I'm a big fan of Pritchard. I think he's a very talented footballer. So that might be the case at Wembley. However, Coventry play different to Sunderland, so potentially it might be a case of we do go direct to striker as soon as possible and let them hold up the play, and then the rest of our team sort of shuffles up and tries to support them. Like I don't know how we're going to do it. Maybe we'll switch to a 4-2-3-1 and try to play tiki-taka. Completely flip the script.
You never know. Now, the only player I do know who's not available for Luton is Corley Woodrow. I think he's injured for this game. Is that a slight concern, just bearing in mind if the game did go to extra time, penalties, and there's tired legs? You haven't. I mean, who could come in for him if that he's injured? Who could be the likely replacement there?
Yeah, it is a big concern that Corley Woodrow is not available. In a sense, though, a lot of our fans have been brandishing him as flop of the season because he wasn't the record signing, but we brought him in from Barnsley and we expected big things from him. He's like late 20s. He's in his prime now. He's coming off like a disappointing season with Barnsley after a very good season where his goals pretty much carried them to the playoff semis. So we expect to sign from him. He's a product of our youth academy, so it was a big homecoming from him. We were expecting a lot from Corley, but he's had these niggly injuries. In the first half of the season, he had a niggly injury. He came back. He scored that absolute wonder goal against Norwich. Then he was injured again for a big part of the season. Then he came back again. Then I think he picked up a knock in a game, and it's always the innocuous ones. So there was a hope that he'd be back for the final, but no, there's no chance he's going to be back. So it would be nice if the game went to extra time that we had the experience of Corley to call on, but it's more likely that we will have Joe Taylor, who's a complete unknown quantity. We signed him for a reported £500,000 from Peterborough. He hadn't played any minutes in League One, but Darren McAnthony spoke very highly of him. Maybe that was because he was just trying to inflate the cost. Who knows? Darren McAnthony was bragging. He was like, "Oh yeah, well I sold him. I sold Joe Taylor for 10 times what I paid for him." So that probably suggests he paid 50k and then flogged him on for 500k. But what we've seen from Joe Taylor when he has come on, he is ideal for pressing. He's obviously not the same physical stature as a Carlton Morris or an Elijah Adebayo. He's shorter, but he is rapid. And he could be a very good option from the bench in extra time, in the sense that he can sit on the shoulder of the last defender. And if you ping a ball over the top or through the defense, he would be on it. He'd be rapid. He's sort of like a Michael Owen in that sense. However, we don't really know how he finishes because we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it in development matches. We haven't seen it in amongst the minutes that he played. He started the game the final game of the season against Hull. He had a very good header that was saved incredibly well by the Hull keeper. It would have been nice if he'd gone into the playoffs with a goal to his name, but is what it is. Hopefully it doesn't go to extra time, because otherwise Elijah and Carlton will be absolutely gassed, because they're going to cover some serious distance.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll be gassed and they won't be taking their chances. Fingers crossed. I'm just saying it tongue in cheek. Right.
Don't worry. The game will be long put to bed by then.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Free Sky Blues win, of course. Right. I've got a question here. Let's get back to business. We live in Diney's Towns. I've asked a question about, which players are you worried about? From a Luton perspective. I mean, obviously Gyökeres and Hamer must be the first two springs to mind.
Do I even need to?
No, I think it's a bit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ben Wilson, he's devastating from set pieces.
He is very much so. Yeah. He likes a corner.
Yeah, he does.
But is there like an anxiety about when you think of people playing Coventry? Is there a nervous about us? Is there any player you think, I hope he's not playing? Obviously part of the obvious.
Well, I'd love it.
There's a style of football something that can concern you, the way we play, that could hurt Luton as well.
No, not really. Between Middlesbrough and Coventry, I'm happy it's Coventry, because it'll be more of a game. With Middlesbrough, they would just have possession, whereas Coventry, I feel it's going to be, you have it, you have it, you have it. It'll be more like a tennis match than a football game. I'm obviously anxious about it, because I remember when I came on Sky Blues Fans TV before the 1-1 game, and I said on that, you asked me how do you think Cov are going to do for the rest of the season. I'm convinced. I haven't been able to dig it out because I want to listen back, but I told you that I fancy Cov for a shot at the playoffs. I told you that because I rate so highly the way Coventry move the ball, progress the ball up the pitch. I rate your team ethic, because you're sort of like Luton in that sense. Except you play through the middle, we play with the wings. But, I do worry about Hamer and Gyökeres, because they are just a class above what other players are in that game. Like, no disrespect to Coventry, 11v11, I wouldn't take any of your players in our starting 11 other than Gyökeres and Hamer. Yeah. And even then, Gyökeres for Elijah Adebayo, possibly, but Elijah brings so much more other than goals. Like, he hasn't hit the prolific heights this season. He's scored 10 in all competitions. Maybe I'd take Gyökeres for Elijah Adebayo, but then you lose Adebayo's power, hold-up play, ability to beat men. But obviously Gyökeres is just the full package, which is remarkable considering, what was it, Swansea he was at before? Or
he was on loan at Swansea.
He was trash. He was trash at Swansea, and it's remarkable how Robbins has turned him into a proper player. What a turnaround! But obviously the attributes were all there, and he's definitely going to be playing in the Premier League next year, whether it's with Coventry or probably Brentford. I reckon Brentford are probably very desperate for a replacement for Ivan Toney. And even when Toney comes back from his suspension, I imagine he's going to be off somewhere anyway, like probably Big Six or Chelsea. Who knows?
Yeah, Chelsea aren't short of a bubble too. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, they're not Big Six anymore.
No, they're not. They're not even the top 10, are they? So,
no, they're 12th.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, let's go. Bring Claudio in. I'm going to go predictions this game. How's it going to go?
Oh,
Put on the spot. We'll go to Ollie in a minute after.
Well, I know what Ollie's going to say. So I think I just feel like we're going to nick it. I just feel we're going to nick it, maybe 1-0. And what's quite sad about this is that I think a lot of our fans are viewing it as a great final in terms that we're playing Luton, not because we think we can beat them, just that it's us and Luton and not Middlesbrough and Sunderland, which is what Sky Sports were desperate for. And it's almost like the friendly final, isn't it? Because I've not seen any disrespect on the or the fans forums between the two clubs. They're almost like both clubs set supporters are celebrating the fact we're both there and sticking the two fingers up at everybody else, saying, look, we've got no money whatsoever, we're doing it the proper way, look where we are. And that's brilliant. I've also got quite a few friends who are Luton fans, and one of them has tweeted me a few times already, and he lives in Coventry, which is quite hilarious, but he is from Luton originally. But I'm going to go for a cheeky 1-0.
Cheeky 1-0. Ollie, no doubt you go for Luton, but how do you think the game's going to pan out?
Yeah, well, I think we need to even the odds here. Can we bring on Joey Crone from Neil Lamptey? He'll back me up. That
of course, yes. For those who don't know, I think he went for 2-0 Luton, which didn't go.
No. He went for 2-0 Luton, then changed it to 1-0 Luton.
Oh, okay, 1-0. He still went for a little bit.
I do think this is going to be an interesting hearing some feedback. Is that on my end or your end?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So I don't think there are going to be many goals in the game. So I did initially think it would be 2-1. But I've been mulling it over since I did second tier pods when they pressed me for a score prediction and I went 2-1. But I've been mulling it over all week. And I've changed it to a very uncomfortable 1-0. Because it's two of the best defenses. It's the joint second best. It's the Golden Glove winner against the second in the Golden Glove race. It's two of the better defenses. Luton have the second lowest XG conceded in the league, whereas Coventry have like the 12th or the 13th lowest XG conceded, meaning you give up chances. But it's about whether Luton can take those chances. And we're not always very good at taking the chances. So I think we're going to restrict you with your chances. And I think we will get chances, but we will fluff our lines quite a bit. But otherwise, it'll be quite a tight game. So I'm going 1-0 Luton.
1-0 Luton, fair enough.
But I also agree with Claudio that it is the people's final. I've been referring to it as the people's final. Like, the neutral doesn't care who goes up. Like, both teams are winners in the eyes of the mainstream media. Like, it's a complete love-in. For both Luton and Coventry. It's wonderful.
I think even in particular because the fact that we were in 2018, I think it was, we were in League Two.
This was the League Two game. Absolutely, it's fantastic for the EFL. It's fantastic for the EFL. And you've essentially been like one season since we both got promoted from League Two. Cov have been essentially one season behind us in progression up the leagues. So if you don't go up, I'd put a bet on you guys finishing third.
Yeah. Ian, mate, what's your prediction for the game? Oh, I think you're on mute. I can't hear you. Oh, I can't. I think I've lost you there. I'll come back in a minute. I'll come off and come on again, and we'll bring you back on because we can't hear you. I'll go with my prediction. So I think, unsurprisingly to the audience, I like sitting on the fence, and that will continue. So I'm going to go for 1-1, but I think we'll nick it in extra time to win 2-1. I think the fact that I based on the fact that the league games we play against Luton were all very, very tight games. I think we did very well to get a draw at Kenilworth Road because not many teams get a point there, and we got a draw obviously in the corresponding game at Cops. I think we can nick it 2-1, but I can't say any certainty at all. I think I really think it's a toss of a coin. This game can go either way, but I have to be positive. I'm going to have to go. I'll go with my team. I think we can do it. We've got the players. We've got the quality. But make no mistake, Luton are a very tough nut to crack. We're going to have to be at our very, very best to beat them. But I'm going to back us and say 2-1. Ian, I think you back.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you know.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfectly.
I think the comments from Claudio and Ollie are spot on. I think they're two clubs that have come from very, very difficult journeys, no money, low budget. So I think it is a very, very friendly final. I'm going to go with a very tight 1-0 as well to the Sky Blues. Although I have these premonitions occasionally, and the last time I saw Mylesy was on Sky Blues TV against the Blues. And I said, it's going to be 2-0 and Eccles is going to score. You've got no problem. And it happened. I had a terribly vivid dream the other night that we were 2-0 down at half time and won 3-2. And Vic got a hat trick. So, I mean, what's going on in my sleep or half sleep is Lord only knows, but I'm going to stick with 1-0. But you heard it first.
Oh.
Milesy, what's your prediction?
I love the way Ian's just said that we're going to come from behind. We haven't won a game from behind this season. So
That's
fine. If there's one game,
Saturday might be a good time to do it.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, listening to Ollie there, I mean, it's just fantastic that both teams are in it because Luton were out of the Football League, they got back in it, and we have all followed each other going through the league. So, I think it's just a brilliant cup final. Well, cup final. It is a cup final, really. It's just a trophy at the end of it. So, playoff final. I just think it's just going to be fantastic for the neutral, but nervy for the both sets of fans. I think if we're kicking away from our end in the first half, so we're kicking up to the east stand in the first half, I think we'll go in at 0-0. I think that'd be the game plan. Get to half time 0-0, and then second half we'll come out. But I think it's going to be that tight. I can only see one goal in it, and it's probably going to go. I just think we've got a little bit too much for Luton on the pitch. I think the way we are, we've lost one game in 20. Last time we lost away from home was in February against West Brom on a Friday night. So I just think we've got a little bit too much for Luton. I just think we've got that little bit extra. And the boys, as I said to you earlier on, the boys, they're up for it. I know they're up for it. I've spoken to some of them. They're up for it. And, they really want this really, really bad. And I just believe we're going to nick it 1-0. Sorry, Ollie.
Yeah. I think you're completely wrong. I don't think you got too much for Luton, not at all. I've also noticed on Twitter, apparently the open top bus that you used in 1987 for the FA Cup final, it's currently undergoing maintenance. It's been spotted. It's been spotted having some maintenance done to it, which I think is a bit presumptuous and a bad omen. Bad omen on your part as well.
It's not to do with the it's not to do with the open parade. We've got a motor fest next weekend in the city.
It's having an MOT.
There's loads of cars and everything going around the city, and buses and lorries and things going around the city. So it's being done up ready for next weekend for the motor fest.
Oh, okay.
So they're having a parade. So it's got to have all the work checked on it so it doesn't break down on the parade around the city centre. And that's what it's for. It's nothing to do with.
Oh, that's good then. That's good because it won't be used. It won't be getting used for the football team next week then.
It wouldn't be used for the football team anyway because it's got FA Cup on it, so they're not going to take that off it. So it's the Motorfest next week. It's nothing to do with the open top parade when we win on Saturday. So you know what I mean.
I've just heard we've got the march to the arches happening because we've got permission to use the drums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drums allowed in, yeah.
That'd be quite good.
Let me just find the comment here. so
I'm
many
just glad I'm
comments.
not sat in front of him.
That was from Ashley. Yeah, Ashley said the drum's been authorised by Wembley, so that's great news. So yeah, that's really good. Ollie, thanks for coming on tonight. I want to say I wish you well, but I wish you well in the championship next season, I think is what I want to say. But it's been great having you on nonetheless. And I enjoyed my time on Oakhatter Pod, and send my regards to the guys there.
Mark, we'll stay in touch when you're still in the champ next year and we're in the Prem, okay?
Yeah, vice versa.
I want to check in on how Cov are doing.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, we'll see you in the champ. See you in the championship. We'll be talk about Premier League hopefully. But no, mate, seriously, good to speak to you, and
cheers,
may the best team win.
Yeah, and to you, good luck, guys. But not too much.
Cheers.
Enjoy the day out.
Yeah, we'll do. Thanks, mate. Speak soon.
Oh, very well.
Right. So yeah, I mean, to be fair,
I just want to win. I just want to win now.
Yeah.
I got to say, I've had a lot of chat with Ian on Facebook over the years, and I've survived his blocking because he's blocked a hell of a lot of people.
98.
I like this one.
Many?
I like
98.
I like this one. Look, Cov Andy, boy, Ollie. Can I just read a comment out? It's not coming on the show tonight. We've had a lovely message from Australia, and he messaged me today, and he really wanted to come on tonight. His name's Eric Howell Astro. He wants to come on, but it's 2:00 in the morning where he lives, so he can't really come on. So he said he'll write a little piece for me to say and then pretend that he's on the show. Right? I won't do an accent because I'm not very good at accents, if that's all right. Do you mind if I just read this quickly out? It's quite long, but it's a lovely message. So it says here, dear Sky Blue Fans TV, in brackets, Milesy, promised you a message leading up to Saturday. So sorry we can't have a chat due to the time difference. Supporting City since '77 with Hutch, Gary Thompson, Steve Hunt were his early heroes. Then came '87. Sadly, left the club in disarray to come to Australia in 2003. Results of bad decisions and mismanagement, not replacing Gary Mack, replacing Keane with Bellamy, overspending, selling HR on and on. Regardless, always listened to the Friday night phone-ins, hardly missed any in the last 20 years. Heart bleeds sky blue. Thanks to iFollow, I now watch every game. It's wonderful. And anyway, to get here without O'Hare, our heartbeat watching the few games he did play, I predicted automatics. Robbins always finds a way, whatever the outcome on Saturday. Robbins will find a way to get us back. Seriously, there's absolutely no limit, really. If we go up £100 million plus 40 million and 30 million for 2 seasons, if we go straight back down, which I don't think we would. Regardless, we can push for autos next year. The ones coming down don't worry me. They will come down with dead wood, just like we did. Anyway, we win on Saturday. Not easy, but we can. But we can with this team. If we can get, let me get this right. If we can get on it straight away, and Vic forces some bookings, VAR may be his defence, which is what we said earlier on, didn't we? Early bookings certainly stopped the shirt pulling against Vic, who would have scored 30 goals probably this season. But some of the tactics have been ignored by the referees. Hamer is above this level, and don't forget Sheaf Fads will be chomping at the bit. Kelly will be perfect for this one. Nally and Doyle will shine, and I have a feeling Super Ben may be the star of the show. We'll be getting my family up at midnight for a special middle of the night pizza and football party. My little boy's lucky dinosaur will be watching. Never lost with him. He missed the Stoke game and we lost. Have a great day, PUSB, Eric H and family. He's gone PS. My little boy has been wearing his Coventry kit under his pajamas all week. Really excited. And he's gone, oh, and probably I forgot to mention, part of it is you guys, I really enjoy your shows. the human positivity. Thanks for the great work that you do. There you are. That's from Australia. I know it's a bit long,
Right.
but that's like as if he was on the show with us and he wanted me to read it out. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's brilliant, isn't it? To move
Yeah.
away and to still have that positivity that he thinks that we're going to go and win on Saturday, and his little boy's wearing his Cov kit to bed.
I think a lot
Does that
of
remind you
people on
when you were a kid?
a lot of people on the forum don't understand that there are City fans who bleed the club all over the world. And they were born in the city. They've moved away for whatever reasons. We've got people flying in from the States, from Australia, from Spain. I'm over from France. You know, the lad from Argentina on last night was lovely. So you know, you don't have to go to every single game to have a heart that beats sky blue, do you?
Right. No, definitely not. But I just thought I had to read it out because he wanted to come on the show. He couldn't come on.
That was brilliant. It was
And I just
brilliant.
thought it's lovely, isn't it? It's lovely.
Yeah, lovely.
You know.
And I think, and the players have got to think like that in terms of positivity and it's that belief. I think it's all about the game is much psychological as it is fitness. It's about believing that you're going to win and having that belief. And if we can go into that game not fearing Luton, I don't think it's a game we should be fearing Luton, by the way, because after everything we've been through, I think we can compete with any size division. I mean, personally speaking, I thought Middlesbrough away. It doesn't get much tougher for that 0-0 second leg, and I thought really backs the wall job can be really tough. But we were absolutely brilliant, and that gives me a lot of hope for this game that we can stand toe to toe with the Middlesbroughs. Even in the league scene, we're playing like the Burnleys. I know we lost to Burnley, but we gave them a bloody good game, and I think Luton Town, you know, we've had 2 draws against them, and it will be a tough game. But after everything we went through, I mean, I went to Middlesbrough. And I was so positive when we won that game. I really feel that we can do it. We just got to believe in ourselves. No, seriously, it's all about belief. It's not me speaking, but you got to put yourself as a player. If I'm Ben Shee, if I'm Ben Wilson, you got to believe that you're going to win the game. I know I'm a negative and so, but
it's brilliant.
To be successful,
it's brilliant.
It's
brilliant.
Life in general, you know, in life, you want to get to the best, be the best. You got to have that belief and confidence, a little bit of arrogance about you to get there. You know, that's where the best.
I also think the noise from our fans will do a lot as well because, I mean, unlike a lot of clubs, I mean, we all take the mick out of our own fans with all the songs we come up with, but we've got a repertoire now. It's ridiculous how many songs we've got, which means you can virtually go for the whole game and not sing the same song over and over again. And frankly, I reckon start the second half, twist and shout for about 20 minutes. It'd be fantastic. You know, but I mean, a lot of clubs have got 2 songs on that cup game at Southampton last season. They do when the Saints at the start of the game, towards half time and at the end. And that's it, wasn't it? It's pathetic. Yeah, but I think the girls and boys, you know, get behind the team. It's brilliant. And the atmosphere, you know, the last couple of home games were absolutely electric. And, you know, we're going to have the whole of that ground and more at Wembley, you know. So it's going to be, the noise is going to be huge as they come out, absolutely huge. You know, I think we just drowned out.
I just want to say about Mark when we went to Middlesbrough. I mean, it was like he's just said there, Mark, about the team that, you know, they're really up for it, aren't they? They're really like that game at Middlesbrough. It was a very well professional performance. It was really professional, and they stuck to the game plan. You know, you see a lot of teams, the manager gives them a game plan, they go out there on the pitch and the game plan goes out the window. They listened, didn't they? They all listened. They all knew what they all had to do. Each individual player knew their role, and that's what they've got to do Saturday. They've got to know the game plan. They've got to go out there and do what they're being told to do. So if McNally's told to come out and cover Cuffy, and Cuffy's told to come in and cover McNally, that's what they're going to do, because that's what was happening at Middlesbrough. If you notice, McNally would come out and cover Cuffy. Cuffy would then come inside and cover for McNally, you know, because they were working as a unit, same as Doyle. I mean, I've never seen Doyle get forward so much as he did when we played against Middlesbrough. He was really pushing forward, and Bidwell was slotting in behind. One point, William said to me, he goes, "What's Doyle doing up there?" I said, "It's all right, Bidwell's filling in for him." They all had. They all. I don't know if you've seen Ted Lasso lately. Total football. They were doing total football. When you watched it, each player covered the other player's position against Middlesbrough. And I know it sounds daft, but it did. That's just come to my mind. It reminded me of Ted Lasso, this series, and when you watch that, two young lads like McNally and Norton Cuffy have got it in their brains. I know McNally's a little bit old; he's 23, I think 22. To go and cover for Cuffy, and I know Bidwell's older, so he knows to cover for Doyle. But Doyle, it gave Doyle the freedom to move forward with the ball, which then pushed the team forward and pushed Allen more forward, and it pushed the team up the pitch further. So in the second half, especially because it was putting the pressure onto Middlesbrough, and if they can do that on Saturday, it would be absolutely amazing. They'll tear them apart. I still think it'd be 1-0. It just,
Yeah.
All we need is at
really,
times
really
going
good.
forwards a little bit of composure, because the Allen chance where he snatched at it, didn't he? Where he was slightly behind, just little things like that. Just a bit of composure in front of goal. We'd score 3 or 4 on the break. Yeah, and
don't you think that was match? Don't you think that was match fitness though,
oh,
Claudio?
possibly,
Do you think that was?
yeah.
Do you think that was to do that he hasn't played for? I don't know. Was it 4 or 5 weeks? Wasn't it? He was out. So do you think that was a lot to do with it? He was a bit
Yeah,
rusty.
I think it was in the second
I
half.
believe that
So
he probably would have put that away, wouldn't he?
yeah, possibly. But I mean, that's where we need to be a bit more clinical when we get the chances. Come on, I mean, if you said at the start of the season, you've got one match at Wembley to get in the Premier League. You're playing Luton. Historically, our record against them is fantastic. Forget the last 4 or 5 seasons. You know, we're way ahead of them. I'd take that. I'm sorry, I'd just take it.
Yeah.
Every day of the week. I wouldn't take from Sunderland. I wouldn't take Middlesbrough. I wouldn't take teams like Millwall, because I think, I don't know. There's something about those teams that could turn up. But I'm thinking, come on. I mean, I know we say they're a season ahead of us, but if I was a player now, I'd want it big time. I'd be wanting to get out there and say, "Come on, boys, what more of a chance? This is possibly for some of them their only chance, of doing it."
Yeah.
And we've got momentum as well.
Yeah, definitely. Did you hear Godden on TalkSport today?
Yes.
He said
I didn't hear it.
they've been out in the evening all together for meals. They've been going out together at night after training. They've been going to restaurants and having a team meals every night, and they've really been bonding even more. And they're really coming. They're really taking it on board, and they're really going for it, if in my words is the way you could say it. And I think that happened in '87, didn't it? John Sullett and George Curtis they were going out for meals and stuff, and they were spending a lot of time together just for that last minute edge to say, like, come on lads, we're going to do this. And it just feels a little bit like that. I don't know what hotel they're staying in. It'd be wonderful if they're staying in the same hotel as we did in '87, if it's still there by the Thames, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, but you imagine if they're staying in the same hotel, it'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's been fairly quiet as well, hasn't it? There's not been a lot of noise from the club at all till today. It's been quite calm, hasn't it? Which is, I quite like that. I don't like it when there's too much noise coming out of the club, and just let us fans make the noise and let them do the stuff on the pitch.
Yeah.
But it's going to be momentous.
It's a good point. I've seen Plutton do a very long interview with Rob Edwards, and I've seen Edwards do another long interview. He speaks very well. I like Edwards. He seems a decent bloke. He was injured in his career and all that. But yeah, you're dead right. Mark's done his statutory contractual 5 minutes today, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Other than that, it's been really quiet, and Matty's done a little bit on the radio. But I think that's a sign of maturity, actually. Just keep it low key.
There is a 20-minute interview I shared earlier on our WhatsApp that is on Sky. So Sky Sports have been there today. He's had a 20-minute interview. It's on YouTube. So there is something on there that they've been doing.
Yeah.
Because they're travelling down tomorrow, aren't they? So they've got to get it out of the way today.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's probably why they're doing it today.
Have you all got your bucket hats? Have you all got your bucket hats?
I would like one.
Ken's got you one.
Oh, are they? Oh, nice one. All right, I'll sort that out. I've got a few more comments from the crowd, from the audience, should I say even. I'm just going to get those read out. Steve Alley, I feel we have to push up the pitch a bit more than we did against Middlesbrough. Luton rely on set pieces, so inviting the playing out final third, or now third, shall I say, will give the opportunity to get cheap fouls and corners. Got a shout out here from Julie Thomas. Shout out to the King's Head Pub in Covington. It's been lit up sky blue outside and inside, and had a sky blue makeover in time for the weekend. So if you can't get to the game, that's probably a good pub to go to watch the game. If you're unlucky and not to have got a ticket.
Dylan's has got space as well. Dylan's has tavern's fully booked, but Dylan's have got space if you want to go and watch it on the big screen. So you can head down there. Also, tomorrow night down at the tavern from 4 o'clock, ITV and BBC will be down there if you want to head down and get on the telly.
Yeah, that'll be brilliant as well. Let's see what Steve Price. Absolutely massive game Saturday. Win or lose, the club is superb and unbelievable achievement to make the playoff. It's been a blast. We've got Wado BR. We've got to just have faith. We could beat anyone our day. We have match winners as long as we don't play like we did against Stoke and stay in the game and win this football match. It's our time. Well, let's hope it is. I totally agree with that. What else we got? Victoria from our pod. Even Victoria's going 2-1 as well. What else we got? Obviously the drum. We just touched on that earlier, but that'll be good, won't it? The atmosphere, getting the drum. Yeah. I think is it Lyndon who plays the drums? So I guess he'll be bringing his drums to the ground. I mean, little things like that's a good thing for the club, isn't it? Because we want to make Wembley like the CBS and create that atmosphere. So that's I'm happy that Wembley have authorised that, because reading, I don't know if anyone saw like what you can and can't bring to Wembley, but there's loads and loads of things you couldn't bring in. So that will have a good impact on the game, couldn't it, in terms of the atmosphere and trying to give the players that sort of 12th man sort of feel to it. So pleased about that.
Someone said to me about the flags. They hope that the flags on the chairs have all been fire tested, because otherwise they've wasted 40,000 flags.
You've got a visitor, Claudio.
Is that Catamon again? He likes to make an appearance.
Cat
again.
Well, Luton Town is going 2-1. Heyman Yokeros to take the famous conference seat back to the Premier League, PUSB. Yeah, agree with that. Glenn says, honestly, if we lose, I'll applaud Lord and wish him well for next season, and I'm sure they'll do the same for us. We'll see about that.
Ollie won't.
Yeah. Rob Nichols makes a point about Ollie's doing a good job of selling the club. I wish some of our fans were equally enthusiastic. I'm thinking here about another Sky Blue podcaster. I think I know who you're referring to. Yeah, I think it's us though, is it? Let's be fair. What else we got? You got a well said Ian from Ashley Monk. Can't remember what was that about. Luton Town, City have to give their all for one more game, just like the famous words Jimmy Hill once sung, fight till the game is won. They did in the second against Borough. I'm confident they can do it again. I think it's just about engineering. As you say, you made a great point about the players, camaraderie, sort of spending time off, having dinner and that. And it's the spirit of 87. That's what we need. We need that spirit of 87 to get past Luton. I think Luton, as you say, we all know they're a good side, but if we can just have that bit of belief about us, I'm sure we can beat them. I'm happy with the defence we've got. At least we're at full strength in terms of defence. Of course, we would love to have had Callum O'Hare available to us, but the fact that we've got as far as we have without Callum O'Hare just speaks volumes of the lads. Mm-hmm. And just got to hope one big effort. I do like the idea of one up front, because obviously if the worst happened, we were losing, we can always bring Godden on. And maybe Tyler Walker. I don't know what the situation is with Walker. Is Walker fit?
He's injured still.
Still injured, yeah. He's not going to be around. So, yeah. Well, I think that rounds us tonight.
There's a comment here. Ashley Monk's come on and said, Louty is just getting on his plane. Vamos, Sky Blues.
Yeah, well, wish him a safe journey to the UK.
And there's another one here from Ian Harris. 3 former Cov lads will be watching from Los Angeles, California, Saturday morning, 3-0 Sky Blues. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Yeah. Oh, breaking news. Breaking news.
Go on.
All right, breaking news. All right, I've got to read it out. Hold on. 2 secs. Myles has got his new phone.
Oh, is this for the show? This is for the show.
All ready for Saturday for the live stream.
I thought you were going to announce we're going to the Premier League there for a minute. Get excited.
My new phone's arrived. So it took 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. So what time's the show on the playoff final day, and where are you presenting for those who might want to speak to you?
Okay, so I've scheduled it in for 2:30 because it's a 4:45 kickoff. I'm going to be down at the fan zone. I'm going to go and have a little walk round there, and anyone who's down there, just come and chat to us, and we'll have a good crack. I'm sure we will, and we'll all be wearing our bucket hats, which I'm looking forward to getting mine, and we can all get out there and have some fun because I think we're going to need our bucket hats. It's going to be really warm, and the fan zone's outside as well. And I remember for the playoff 2 final, it was absolutely fantastic in there. It was brilliant. So, as I said earlier on, you imagine if they announced Vic signing a 3-year deal, there'd be beer flying everywhere. So, it's all going to be good. So, you can all come and join us. And we're just going to have a crack. I mean, I might be a little bit tipsy, but don't care. It's Wembley.
Is the fan zone? I mean, for those who may not know, is it free to enter the fan zone, or do you have to pay? Like it's £10?
Yeah. So no, that's Box Park. So Box Park is different to the fan zone. So the fan zone is outside. What it is you'll see. Well, you can't miss it. There's a play area for kids to go in. And then the fan zone is literally there by the steps going up to the turnstiles where we will go in at the west end. So if you've got the map, if you've got the Wembley map, I don't think we've still got it on here. Bear with me. No, I took it down. So if you've got the Wembley map on your ticket, so if you have a look at your ticket, you've got the Wembley map, you'll see our end. It'd be the right-hand side of the goal where the station is. It's a little bit, you go... So if you imagine you're coming from the station, you go under a tunnel. It's on the right-hand side there, the fan zone. And it's right by the shopping centre and everything. So you can't miss it. It's outside. It's free to get in. Box Park, you have to pay, although they do free tickets for Box Park, but you're not guaranteed to get in. So, but you want to be outside, don't you? You don't want to be indoors. You want to be outside.
No, I'll be outside. Yeah. I put my factor 30. Factor 30. Cool. Well, I'll definitely meet you there, and it'd be great to meet not just yourselves, but all Coventry fans. It'd be great to a great social occasion. Hopefully, we'll be drinking late into the night, toasting hopefully a win against Luton. Fingers crossed. Touch wood. I'll touch wood. There's no real wood. It's on a touch made. That leads me to say thanks to my guests, Myles, Claudio, Ian, Ollie. Sadly, we couldn't really get Ronald on due to bad internet issues. We'll try and get him on another show. So, as you just heard, 2:30 Saturday, Myles will be on live from Wembley. So, if you want to meet at the fan park and you want to be interviewing Myles and give your predictions, then please do. And then we'll have another show Sunday. Hopefully, we'll be talking about a return to the Premier League. So, stay tuned for that 7:30. But yeah, thanks for all your comments tonight, everyone. It's been a great pleasure. Play up Sky Blues, and hopefully we'll be talking about Premier League next season after this game.
Play up Sky Blues.
Good night.
Play up Sky Blues.
See ya.